Kermit. We are live from some random place. Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Alright, so we're going to sort of start over. Once again, Jordan Peterson on his personal website, I guess, or business website, wrote a rebuttal to Nellie Bull's New York Times article. The title of Peterson's post is "On the New York Times and Enforce Monogamy." Yeah, go ahead and read this shit. Figure things out here.
Putting me on the spot? Oh, God.
Gee golly, yeah.
Gee, Mr. Diller, I don't know. My motivated critics couldn't contain their joyful glee this week at discovering my hypothetical support for a Handmaid's Tale type patriarchal, I hope I said that right, social structure, and, let's say, hinted at Nellie Bull's New York Times article representing her take on my ideas. It's been a truism among anthropologists and biologically oriented psychologists for decades that all human societies face two primary tasks: regulation of female reproduction, so babies don't die, you see, and male aggression, so that everyone doesn't die. The social enforcement of monogamy happens to be an effective means of addressing both issues, as most societies have come to realize pair-bonded marriages constituting, as they do, a human universal.
Where'd you go here?
Right here.
Alright, keep going.
A human universal, see the list of human universals here, derived from Donald Brown's book Donald Brown's book by that name.
Stop there. Is it? Alright.
We keep the baby safe, and we keep the men happy, and then we won't die. I mean, if that's what he means, I mean, you know, I'd like to hear your take on it again.
I mean, even though maybe it's some clinical term, enforced monogamy, but come on, if you're talking to massive crowds and you have a wide audience that aren't privy to that language, why not say society reinforce monogamy, like or
positive reinforcement,
or what's the word, influence that, rather than saying enforced. But whatever, maybe he did it on purpose a little bit. Just be like, they won't know what this means. They'll think I mean government sanctioned,
maybe
enforced,
but even
monogamy.
that still,
yeah. I want to stop on this shit.
So even if he didn't mean enforced as in law, he's talking about like a social order, you know, where it's something socially acceptable, you know, like an unwritten rule or law, you know.
So, well, let's just take it as influencing, or heavily influencing, or let's say pushing it, nudging it out in front to say this is a healthier way to live in the world or whatever. Yeah, I disagree with that. It's about healthy people. If, like you were saying before, if Bonnie and Clyde get together, yeah, it's monogamous, but
yeah, they're soulmates. And the problem is they like to shoot shit and fucking rob people. Yeah. Well, maybe that's not what they like specifically. It might be an end result of whatever they like to do at the moment, but that's for another time, I guess. If you have two people that are considered to be bad people, and then they happen to find each other, and they love each other at the moment, you know, and they go by monogamy, you know, and it's like, well, have fun with that, you know, have fun.
So these
again, we might be getting like a limited source of what he's saying here, possibly. But this is his rebuttal.
I think he's straight up saying that society should, you know, should nurture towards monogamous relationships.
I don't think that would help at all.
Nah. In fact, I know it wouldn't. Even if, let's say, everyone became monogamous and there's world peace and no more wars and all that shit, I would say that has nothing to do with monogamous relationships and more about to do with just relationships, period. It's more of the occupants of the society who's participating in it.
Yeah.
Right?
I think maybe what he's trying to say is monogamy would be like maybe what I would envision him being saying would probably be something in regards of it would be the healthy end result of something, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think he's saying all this to say this is why men become super aggressive and harmful and violent. And I'm like, no, that's just unhealthy minded. It's a mixture of things going on.
I'm not saying
just purely.
It's like we get like they find just like a caveman.
Yeah.
He's getting angry. Find him a woman.
Yeah, it's not purely.
Oh, Emily, like the young intern. Yes. Throw him in a cage. We need him to have a mate, or else he'll get destructive. It's like that can't be it.
And because I was in the comment section talking to people, and this isn't in no way saying that we don't care about guys who I guess can't find a relationship, or even women for that matter. They call them incels or something.
Incels?
Involuntarily celibate.
What's that mean?
That means
celibate.
Huh?
Celibate.
Yeah. Oh, it means you don't have sex.
Oh.
And then you're involuntarily celibate, meaning you're trying to have sex but you can't. So you resort to getting in cars and driving over people, or rape, or.
Fuck no.
It's a joke.
No, just saying. It's like
no, I have to say that to them because they're like.
Yeah, I read the comments. I was like, oh, like the thing is, if that's your end result, to do all that stuff, then you might be missing out on the broader picture here of two people sharing the same universe.
Let me see if I can do this real fast.
Yeah. The actual benefits of a relationship. Yeah. I think most people would say, yes, we love each other. It's like,
yeah.
Could be questioned in this sick society, you know. I mean, it's very rare. Maybe it's very rare, you know.
Yeah.
That there are actually soulmates out there. Oh, we.
Yeah. Well,
it could be.
I don't think it's as much rare as much as it is realized. It's rare that it's realized.
Well, maybe what I meant was like that both people have an idea, have a true idea. Maybe not the words for it, but a true idea that person is there. Yeah. Is there one?
I should harass Jody's Corner and figure out how the fuck he does all this shit.
Go ahead.
They have like graphics and all that shit on the screen. Where were you today, man? What happened? That's Jamal Thomas.
Yeah.
Talking about Hillary Clinton's book.
Oh.
Named What Happened.
Oh, I forgot live stream. What happened?
What happened? Alright, let's move on to the second paragraph. Speaking about the once again, societies should be enforcing monogamy as an effective means to deal with the issues of female reproduction and male aggression, blah, blah, blah. Basically safety measures. All right. Here's something intelligent about that issue. Written by Antiquark2 on Reddit after the New York Times piece appeared and produced its Tempest in a Teapot. That's probably some... I went to Harvard, so I know these books. I studied Shakespeare.
Ivy League.
Just kidding.
No, we have a strong resentment towards anybody from there.
Alright. So this is a quote from the Reddit guy.
Mm-hmm.
Peterson is using well-established anthropological language here. Enforced monogamy does not mean government-enforced monogamy. Enforced monogamy means socially promoted, culturally inculcated monogamy, as opposed to genetic monogamy, evolutionary dictated monogamy, which does exist in some species, but does not exist in humans. This distinction has been present in anthropological and scientific literature for decades. Okay, so this Peterson basically using another source to say, see, this is what I really meant.
Mm-hmm.
But
even so,
that's not a bad thing. It's just like, oh, someone actually got what I was saying.
Yeah.
Here you go. And once again, he's basically saying that it's socially promoted.
Yeah, it's being like an influence rather than a law, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I highly, highly doubt that will be the fucking, you know, this is it. This is the answer.
Yeah.
Keep the baby safe and keep the men happy.
Yeah.
Well, my bad. Male aggression. What was it? He said specifically it was what?
Female reproduction and...
Female reproduction and...
male aggression.
Yeah.
All as...
And then the cause of that is what? Because...
You'd probably have to look at his past works to see that.
Maybe. I don't want to assume here.
But he's basically saying those are there as actual entities and social interaction and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, is he saying that, like, monogamy would help?
Yeah.
Like, or it would help that completely?
I think he means, well, what he says here, socially promoted. Yeah.
I'm not saying he is, but if he were saying that would help, I'm like, it's tough to say that because, you know.
Nah, that would only help. And that wouldn't even help. Because, once again, you'd be looking at it from the wrong direction.
Sure.
You can read it as help, as in if I fix Jane up with Joe, all of a sudden, and they fall in love and they're both happy. But if they're separate, one would have went on like a murdering spree, and one would have been like a prostitute or something.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, hooking those two up together, it's on the outside seems like, oh, that's the right thing to do. This monogamous relationship. But what's going on under the surface is they were already these specific types of people that just happened to meet each other or be set up together, and that's what worked out. Instead of
it's like similar people.
Oh, it's just it's monogamy rather than I'm Joe or I'm Jane, and we express harmonically.
It's like similar people will surround themselves or find someone that's very similar, whether they're unhealthy or healthy. You know.
Yeah. Now let's go to the second paragraph. As Antiquark2 points out, 4 decades. That's referring to that this has been studied and has been basically established in scientific literature for decades, which doesn't mean much. It does mean something, but it doesn't mean as much to me because I can cherry pick a bunch of shit from scientific studies. I can go to Rupert Sheldrake. I can go to Amit Goswami and point out, like, well, if consciousness is centered in the brain, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, I can go to Amit Goswami that says consciousness is non-local, which means it doesn't just emit from the fucking brain. So, really, there's studies going on everywhere, but they're moving towards probabilities rather than truth.
It's like, how do you know it does not come from I can't tell you. I can't tell you.
Yeah, they're actually both Indian. I don't want to be racist here.
I don't know. He just had that accent.
They're both brown fellas.
I'm not
How about that? Yeah, I'm brown too.
Let's just say he had a tint to him. Let's just say that. Yeah.
Consciousness is not local.
But how do you know? I can't tell you. Like, I can't. Like, but you can just tell me how to know. I can't tell you how to know.
Alright, let's go to this next paragraph. Alright, where I left off. As Andy Cork 2 points out, 4 decades, referring to the study, referring to the scientific literature. My critics' abject ignorance of the relevant literature does not equate to evidence of my totalitarian or misogynist leanings.
Totalitarian.
I might also add, anyone serious about decreasing violence against women, or violence in general, might think twice about dismissing the utility of monogamy and social support for the monogamous tendency as a means to attain that end.
Alright. One thing I'm getting here is I think everyone believes in a healthy society that they see one person having a soulmate and that's with another person. It's just those two, you know. And they gave a word for it because maybe they don't understand like the true what do you call it?
Nature.
Yeah, the true nature of two people. So that like I believe we might have an understanding of it. So that's what we call it. We use the social word like soulmate. You know, 2 words.
I wouldn't call that a social word.
I mean term.
I wouldn't call it that.
No.
That sounds more like a metaphysical term, as opposed to like a couple. Or a married couple, or partners, or whatever. That's probably more of a socially acceptable term.
Something that everyone can understand, which is the thing called a soulmate. But if you just call it monogamy, where it's just one partner, you know, and that's just it. There's no depth to that. You know, it's like, is this a result of a lack of inspection here? You know.
I think it's, once again, the on-the-surface reading and looking from the outside into the situation and saying,
right.
Like, one person with one person seems to be less violent, as like a scientific study.
Right.
Now, any of that, it shouldn't be dismissed, but at the same time,
no, I'm
as
not,
far as
I'm not shitting on statistics or anything, but I'm not going to hold them up on the golden pedestal and say like, this is what we'll go by. 7.8 is now 8. This is the truth. It's like, but we created the numbers and we created the measurements and now we're rounding.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, that's a whole another thing there too.
Well, that's what statistics are, you know.
But see, look, anyone serious about decreasing violence against women or violence in general should consider the utility of monogamy in society. That's putting duct tape on a bursted septic tank. You're like, it's shit everywhere. Just fucking tape it up.
It's a nice little
X tape on there.
It's a nice little Band-Aid on the gashing wound. That's
see, when you come to
internal bleeding.
When you come to things like violence or things that are about human expression, you can't really trick yourself into fixing these things, right? I don't know if there's only one person watching.
Fuck it.
But if there was like a baseball fan listening,
2.
One of them's us. We don't count. Actually, they both might be us. Either way, small baseball reference. If a batter's, let's say a batter who's really good bat speed, he swings really fast, but the ball's coming in slow. What he can do is trick himself. Instead of learning how to be patient and learning the internal timing of things, he'll just move up in the box to make himself closer to the pitcher, so that the ball is perceived to be moving faster.
Right, or it's the same thing as let me just change my feet. Yeah. It's like, what?
As opposed to setting timing up.
Right.
And using patience and your mental faculties.
It's also like
just like fixing violence. You can fix violence through using your mental faculties, amongst other things, rather than tricking yourself into, it's like, oh, I'm happy now because I have my partner.
Mm-hmm.
or I have my car, or I have the house. That's happiness.
Is it?
I won't be violent now.
That sounds like an inauthentic happy.
Give everyone the material happiness they want, and then give them infinite life, and then watch what happens.
Shit.
Watch it.
It's like,
I could be wrong now. Who knows?
That person would have to probably extensively venture towards their internal.
Yeah, there'd be orgies in the fucking roads. Just hedonism to the fullest.
Hedonism. But yeah, it's... I'm not saying that he's saying... I'm not going to say that he is, or assume that he's saying this is the answer.
Nah, he's saying that. I think he's... I haven't seen all his work to say whether
either.
He's affirming this thing or not.
Yeah.
But it seems like he's nudging towards that we want a socially promoted monogamy, like monogamy socially promoted.
I mean, that's okay as long as someone,
And I think he does that because he believes men are this and women are that.
Oh.
Not
Group.
Not literally. I'm being facetious there. I don't mean literally.
Mm-hmm.
I just mean he leans towards women act like this and men act like this. I would say based on observation. But once again, that's an outside perspective, trying to look into whatever situations and then making a accounting of it.
Right.
Rather than saying, they seem to act like this and they seem to act like that. This is possibly what's going on. I think they lean more towards this is probably what's going on.
Sure.
Men are like this, women are like that.
Well, let's pretend that the whole male aggression thing.
Yeah.
Let's say there was some weird society where the women are very separate from the men, like very separate. Like they see them every now and then, but so does that mean they're gonna be aggressive and violent? Like imagine a fucking prisoner. Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
So what happens is they find the weaker pack of the men and then they make them their bitches. They are now women. There you go. No, I'm just joking, but it's tough. I mean, by tough, I mean tough for me to be able to explain it. In a way, it's like it just seems a little absurd to me how like this could be like a main solution. We actually reinforce the idea of monogamy, and this will help. I'm not mocking him, It's just the idea that would be like one of the key things. I'm like, no, I don't think so.
That's that outsider's perspective. That's that outside content trying to infuse into something that's an internal problem.
Yeah, I think there's a lack of
That's this guy's violent, or this guy's he's a murderer with guns. Let's give him toy guns now. It's like, okay, stop killing, but that's still a seed of wanting to hurt someone, isn't there?
There's some sort
trying
of
to infuse something. Trying to recondition someone is, I think, one of the unhealthiest things.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, just like
that's not your territory and not your place.
Are you unhappy?
Do we freeze?
Are you unhappy? Listen. Here's a glass of smile. Go ahead.
Here's that new car. Do we freeze or?
Are you depressed, Jordan? It's just like it's like inauthentic emotions.
Yeah.
Here's
what do you mean by that?
Well, I'm gonna explain. It's I'm not gonna call it the scientific answer, because I can't show you happiness. You can't measure it. You can't. It's
well, with other people you can.
Well,
with yourself you can.
I can't show you it.
Yeah.
You can't see it. It's weird because, and then there's some of these people's solutions to depression, or people having an internal sadness, a great sadness that they bury, and it just happens to come out like an overflow, like, and it takes a toll on their mental health. Mental health, just a word, and physical, like their physical body, like whatever.
Yeah.
And then some of these people's solutions are these antidepressant, like, pills, drugs. That's what I call it. A glass of smile. You'll be happy.
Yeah.
You won't be sad. You'll just be mellow.
We're gonna penetrate your internal wall with this pill or chemical,
sure.
And then all of a sudden your internal is gonna change.
It's not you. It's an inauthentic version of yourself.
Yeah.
It's suppressing something that's like, it's in a way it's a good thing that you're sad. Something's wrong. That's a red flag. That's the fucking alarm going off. Something's not right. You know what the fucking pill is? The inauthentic happy glass of smile. That's no, everything's fine. You're sitting in your room. The alarm's going off. You're like this, like, what's wrong? And the room's like, I'm not gonna call it the room's getting darker, but let's just call it's getting like a little bit dim. You're not liking it. Then you think something's wrong. The light's going off. The alarm, like in the fucking like alien movies, where it's like, whatever the fuck. The men come in. The men with no faces. They come in with tape and they just put it over the fucking light that's flashing. And nothing's wrong here. And they run out of the room. That's what happens. This is what it is.
Yeah.
It's these like quick. It's like, I'm not gonna call it a quick fix, but it's these fixes, these inauthentic. See, you'll be happy now. You have a partner. There you go. Have fun. Bye. See, the women have babies and they're healthy. We have to keep the men happy because so they're not aggressive. And by happy, I mean they have to have partners. It's like, what? So you're telling me a man can't
being facetious?
Sure. A man can't live most of his life, possibly without a partner, because he feels so alone. Rather the fact that he feels the rest of the people or the rest of society is insane. So he might be the only sane. He feels like he's the only sane person, possibly.
Yeah, that's why don't girls like me? What's like fuck? Where was it? Somewhere in California, Santa Barbara or something.
Yeah,
shooter.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm handsome. I'm this. I'm that. But girls don't like me.
Yeah.
And he goes out and kills people. Kills himself after.
Yeah.
It's like,
So it's the man that could be alone, I'm not gonna say for most of his life. It's just a hypothetical situation here, But he is happy,
All right, let's continue on, because he basically affirms the theory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to read more into it, but I don't know if he's affirming it for himself, as in this is my world belief.
Well, sure. I mean, just to be fair, we'll just go off of what it says right here. We're not going to assume anything. We're just going to go off of what it says right here.
All right. So he says, simply put, monogamous pair bonding makes men less violent.
You got comments?
I'll get to that.
All right.
Simply put, monogamous pair bonding makes men less violent. Here are some examples of the well-developed body of basic evolutionary, biological, psychological, anthropological evidence and theory supporting this claim. So he's setting up, here's the studies, blah, 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 blah,
right.
or a summary of them. Let's read this shit. I can't. I should have moved this a while ago. Tamaru says, antidepressants help me get out of a rut and deal with some issues. I was on them for a year and then trailed off them. They are not a quick fix. Don't knock what you don't know or understand.
Ooh.
That's for you, son. I didn't say no quick fix. Seriously, we're not putting down anyone that's taken these things.
No.
Or saying that there's anything about them. We're not saying they're lazy or anything like that. But there is a 100% foolproof solutions to things like depression.
Sure. And
as opposed to, I mean, let's not even bring up the idea of placebo effect or anything like that, to where I could take a pill and be like, oh, my sadness is going away.
Sure.
When really it's you creating that sadness dissolving.
That's what I'm trying to say, though. In regards to this, it could be something that you're experiencing that, and here's the thing. I don't know what that person went through right there. I don't know what they went through. I don't know what you went through, but we all have gone through something, something like considerably like unfortunate or sad. We all feel empathy towards one another. So I don't know.
We don't all do that.
Well, what?
empathy towards each other.
Well,
not everyone does.
Fair enough. That's like me, like in my idealistic world.
Yeah.
I do believe that people do have an understanding of, and they can be compatible as far as I understand what you went through. I can relate. So what I do believe is, did they help you? Possibly. But I do believe some depression is, it might be a word that people slap together for, I'm very sad, and I don't know why.
And I don't know what to do.
Exactly. So, what are you saying? Help me deal with some issues.
He was in a rut.
Sure.
Wanted to get out of it.
Sure.
He took them, and then he slowly, I guess, I don't know if you just like cut down dosage over time, and then to where you're completely weaned off them.
Okay. See, like here, I'm just gonna go with like what I do believe. Yeah. From what I see, it's a lack of internal investigating, and what I want to call it, you could call it searching. For why I feel very depressed, or you could call it the self. If people may understand what that is.
Yeah.
Like self-investigation.
Well, here's what I'll say.
Hold on.
Here's why.
Hold on. I agree, but they can give you I can't see that.
Welcome to our ghetto live stream.
If only they could see like what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
I agree, but they can give you the kickstart needed to get out of bed in the morning and begin doing the hard work that you likely have in mind. Depression can cripple some people. Agree, though. Probably overprescribed for many. Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying, though. But I feel like I don't believe it's needed.
Yeah.
I believe it's absolutely not needed. A pill is not nearly as strong as you call it the power of the self. If that makes sense.
Here, let's do this.
Yeah.
Because, okay, you already did them, and you moved on or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I would recommend the other route, which is the internal investigating of yourself.
Yeah.
Because we all have these things, just some are more zoomed into it. So, let's say you have I feel down today.
Yeah.
Some people are zoomed into that to where it's just shit all day fucking long. It's just, I feel horrible all the time. That thing there is a part of your self-expression.
Sure.
That's why the pill is more of like a distraction from that expression. That's
why I made the metaphor of, it's like you feel really fucking shitty for whatever reason that could be. And I imagine, I put the image out there of like some dude sitting in a bed, he just feels horrible. Like, oh, why do I feel bad? I just feel shitty, and the alarm's going off. That's like the fucking thing, like like something's wrong.
Yeah.
Like that feeling, like you just feel like shit, you don't feel like talking to anybody, you're sad.
Yeah.
Very sad, something's wrong. And then the pill, like the antidepressant pill, or whether it could be something else. It could be like alcohol. It could be something where it could
be a new car.
Yeah. It could be a girlfriend. It could be whatever.
They're biological distractions.
Sure. Or anything like a toy, or something.
Yeah, that's more of environmental distraction. Then there's biological distraction of my right arm is fucking burning. It's constant. You got 3rd degree burn here, and someone stabs you in your other arm. Like, oh, this fucking hurts over here.
So the alarm's going off, and I said the men with no faces, because it's almost an empty entity that's just walking in a foreign thing, covering the alarm. Nothing's wrong here. You're fine. You're fine. Go back to what you're doing. You're happy. And you're like, oh, I guess I am. Now you're suppressing that thing that's telling you like something's wrong, like the red alert,
Yeah.
So I wouldn't call. It's tough because I don't know.
And also the something wrong could mean something right, quote unquote.
Right.
As in, let's say you're living this cycle of the same job, taking the same route to work, around the same people,
we should play this
over and over and over and over again.
Buy a car to drive to work.
drive to work.
Yeah, my bad.
To pay for this car.
Drive to work.
But yeah, let's say you get caught in like some endless cycle like that, and you're deeply depressed from this experience.
Yeah.
The depression could actually be a good thing, as in,
it's
fuck, let me make a change.
I want to call depression.
And I don't mean distraction change, like, let me take a different route to work.
Yeah.
Or let me invest in a car and then drive this to work.
Sure. But the thing is,
or blah, blah, blah.
It's weird because
weekend warrior type shit.
I feel like we all like have these, like, I don't want to call it clinical terms, but it's like this deep feeling of sadness that's constant. You know?
Yeah.
Like there's the dude, my friend, man, like he got in a car accident. I feel horrible for him, man. It's awful. He like busted his leg up. He's have to, like, I feel like you're sad for him, or maybe something happened to you, but you don't feel like it's that like much of like an impact on you, you know, within your own little bubble. For someone that's within that sandbox, you know. Yeah. And then there's your whole world is flipped. You know, you're no longer like in that state of ignorance is bliss type of thing. It's like, what the fuck is it? It's so foreign. I feel so horrible.
That's when something hits the self.
Yeah.
And once again, the self contains everything. It contains your sadness and your happiness or whatever.
Yeah.
So something that hits deeply at yourself. That's what I would say. The other one, friend in a car accident, something like that. And that's more like heartbreak type situation.
Well, sure, but it is sadness.
To where it's not like,
that's like,
this is personal to me.
That's like a character in the show, though. You know, nothing happened to him. He's fine, physically.
Yeah.
But everyone around him is being tortured and murdered. And it's
yeah.
Like, it's like, what the fuck?
That's similar.
So, that's why I say, though, I'm not going to call it a quick fix, because I don't believe it is a fix. I believe it's just a little, like a facade of you're okay, you're fine, you know. Yeah. And the thing is, I'm not saying this person isn't okay, but I definitely wouldn't, like, well, it worked for me. I'm like, well, the question is, did it, you know? Like, I don't believe a lot of these things do. I believe a lot of these things are a result of people with a lack of understanding of, well, how do we help this person? Well, we don't know. It doesn't show on our board, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if I tell a doctor, doctor, my soul hurts. Like, I'm not making fun of anybody. It's my soul hurts. It's just something internal. I can't, like, how do you feel? I feel cold and I can't. And then it's like, well, on the Billy, on your x-rays, there's nothing wrong. Yeah. We thought it was a tumor, but there's nothing wrong here, you know? And that's like kind of like the masculine way of looking at it, rather than like the feminine, where it's like the universe. It's like, what is he talking about? The universe is out there in the space. It's like, no, the universe as a collective, internal of all of us.
Or the uniself. I don't know.
It's for another time. That's what I was going to get at. So it's like when I compare the antidepressant pills to this, is like as far as what I call it a glasses smile, or a monogamy. You know, you feel like that would help, wouldn't you? You know, like a little thing that would help you, make you happy. You know.
Yeah, it's one of those. Like when you said monogamy, something flashed in my mind. It's sort of like saying, I don't know if this is the right way. That
hey, try it.
A square is a rectangle, but a rectangle isn't a square.
Right? You have to elaborate.
So it's like monogamy can lead to happiness. Yeah. But happiness doesn't mean it's monogamy.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Or they're not the same thing.
Absolutely not.
I don't know if I explained that one right.
No, I understand. Yeah. Because, well, again, I don't believe he's saying, he didn't say directly, so whether he's saying something without saying it is up to a debate, but...
Well, let's continue with this.
Sure.
He quotes some, I guess, scientific papers or whatever.
Right.
This one's named The Competition Violence Hypothesis, Sex, Marriage, and Male Aggression. Here's a little quote from that. Men who transition to a monogamous or less competitive mode of sexual behavior, fewer partners since last wave, reduce their risk for violence. The same results were not replicated for females. Further, results were not accounted for by marital status, or other more readily accepted explanations of violence. Findings suggest the competition for sex be further examined and as a potential cause of male violence. Okay. I can't...
Peacocking.
We can't kill him too hard because he's saying perhaps and, you know, potentially, possibly, basically.
Sure.
But not aggression, just like we're talking about depression.
Mm-hmm.
Aggression is aggression.
Yeah.
It's not, if I punch you in the face, you're like, oh, aggression.
Yeah.
But if some girl sneers at someone,
mm-hmm.
isn't that aggression too?
Yeah.
Even if they don't even fucking see the sneer, that's still aggression happening.
Or even a thought.
There's no like scientists following this girl around like,
sure,
sneer.
Aggression. You could even have like a, in a way,
or hold on, or like a passive aggressive thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like, hey buddy, how you doing? He shakes your hand. He's like fucking trying to death grip your hand.
Or
like, oh, he's being nice, but
or, oh my god, I love that shirt. It looks so good on you.
Yeah.
Or you have that special like somebody who just has a blank face all day long. But inside here, or lack thereof, as far as hello, anybody home? You know, they think of like fuck, I want to just fucking rip this dude's head off. Like what? Like whoa.
Yeah.
Like serious. I don't mean like yeah football. Oh yeah, I'm gonna break your back. I mean like what you said, or what you got from some video where it was like the woman going home after seeing someone like, you know, get beat up or hit by a car, and they go like imitate the face, whatever the fuck.
I showed you that. I don't remember.
Yeah, let's say it's a reference. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some loopholes here, I think, you know.
Yeah.
That deserve to be poked.
Well, then aggression is a metaphysical output. Well, I think it's all metaphysical output, but
let's just be clear though.
this one hits more home to humans.
Right. I do think anger is a good thing, you know. And I totally
I wouldn't say good, I'd say healthy.
My bad.
It's something that's healthy.
I do think that those that disregard it as no anger here, positivity. I'm like, looks like someone's neglecting something that they should be paying attention to. That's why the whole only positive vibes here, man, type of stuff, I call bullshit.
Yeah, but he's speaking more to male physical violence.
Oh, I'm aware.
And it's like...
And he's saying it's a result of what? Possibly. Possibly. Or a direct...
competition. Competition in the sexual arena.
That's right. Peacocking and strutting and posing. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that happens, you know.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But that could once again be a metaphysical output of pride or something like that.
Sure.
Looking at my girl?
I've proved myself to you, man. Because
that's in this other study he brings up,
right? Which
I don't feel like fucking reading. It was pretty long. No.
which would probably lead me to an inauthentic idea of what a relationship should be in a social circle, which stems from, you know, what Tessarian would call like the inauthentic life, in a way. Like, the man feels a certain way, or a person feels a certain way, so they have to resort to aggression and violence, you know, to assert their dominance and their in oddly enough, assert dominance in some type of which they all agreed upon in such a way to surround themselves with these people, you know, or at least group themselves with these people that eat like you looking at my girl, man? Like, you wanna fucking go, man? You wanna go? It's like, whoa, what?
And this paragraph that I'm about to read speaks to that exact situation, basically. In particular, Daly and Wilson, whoever the fuck they are, note that most homicides between men originate from what Wolfgang calls trivial altercations. A typical homicide begins as a fight about trivial matters of honor, status, and reputation between men, such as when one man insults another. The situation basically.
Man, you're a bitch. What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do?
Fights escalate because neither is willing to back down until they become violent, and one of the disputants ends up dead.
Right.
Because women prefer to mate with men of high status and good reputation, men's status and reputation directly correlate with their reproductive success. That's wrong.
Sounds like, this is love. Let's make a statistic for it.
Like, a girl likes this type of guy.
Here's the thing. This is where it gets
like reproduction.
No, I'm not saying that. From what I see, is it's a lack of understanding of a girl likes this kind of guy because she lacks depth.
Because she's unconsciously.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's what I meant to say.
Let me read the rest. Yeah.
Right.
Men are therefore highly motivated, albeit unconsciously, to protect their honor and often go to extreme lengths to do so, compelled by their evolved psychological mechanisms.
Oh, yeah. Whether it's something that's like, what's it called? What is this? It's an object. What would you call that?
A box?
No, like a car, watches. Materialistic. It's that, and fucking with that glorification of like looks. I have to look a certain way for the girl. It's like, what?
That and I think this is the right guy. Descartes, looking at the world as a mechanical thing.
Yeah.
The world works like a clock almost, to where if you have gears in there, when one thing ticks, the other thing has to tick too. And this ticks over here, and then you have the whole clock moving.
All the gears are churning at once. One makes the other go, and the bolts are perfectly aligned and everything.
All right. Daly and Wilson thus explain homicides between men in terms of their largely unconscious desire to protect their status and reputation in their attempt to gain reproductive access to women. They might want to update and say, or men, right?
Yeah.
Do gay dudes do that?
Hey, we all have everything. So.
Or how about the girl's like, that's my fucking man.
Hey, I've seen plenty of that.
Reproductive.
Like, you don't touch him.
That's my future reproductive partner.
That's my yin to my yang. Pulls their hair.
So what it's saying is that it's basically an unconscious decision making in order to reproduce, to be suitable to reproduce.
Right.
Because a woman will value the guy who wins the aggression battle or whatever, or wins the status. It doesn't have to be aggression. You can be like just a billionaire or something.
It's a type of
aggression too. Whatever.
Yeah, that evil, empty corporate thing going on.
So
another time. But yeah, it's funny, man, because I wouldn't like. It's weird. I don't know how old that is, but what I would say, like the girl likes
the Daly and Wilson, I believe, from 1988.
Okay.
And the one guy they bring up, Wolfgang.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who that is. From 1958.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this instead of like singling out like one gender or whatever the fuck, or one group. Like these relationships from like statistics wise, right? I guess this came from like a study.
Observation, yeah.
Sure. They come from unhealthy individuals from an unhealthy society supporting this type of thing. You know, like this is what you need, this is what you want. This is what's acceptable, and this is what you should go for. You know, the men with the money and the car and the status and the, etc., or at the lower levels of the spectrum, whether it's in school, like, everyone knows him, everyone likes him, he looks good. Yes, but he lacks any like personal depth and character, and he's basically like a fucking like white wall. there's nothing to there, you know.
Okay, but you are going on the typical on the surface social observation things. Let's take that away. Let's say
I think I'd begin there.
Let's say men who are good at video games are all of a sudden highly valued. Thus, the competition between video game dudes and everyone else.
To be fair enough, I'm just going with the prototypical social, I don't want to call it hierarchy of status. It's anything that's valued more than someone's, and I'm going to use this word again, inauthentic value and someone's, we could call it someone's life.
And
you know?
Here's where, even on a scientific level, you could just call them out and be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's when they say that this happens mostly on an unconscious level.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how the fuck do you know that?
Yeah.
You can't observe a situation and say, he unconsciously wants to gain reputation in order to get some girl pregnant.
No.
Or to win over a female. It's like,
this makes me feel,
maybe that'd be a good guess.
This makes me feel like you got to go back and explain why the fuck do some guys or some girls, before they go to school or before they go out in public, they go in the mirror and they fix their hair. Like what's making you do that? You know, who's telling you to do that?
Well, that would be, to them, that would be the reproductive cycle. At the same time, what about the person that doesn't do any of that? And they don't want to be a part of the whatever crowd, the in crowd.
Or the person that does that on purpose, and they choose to be the rebel on purpose rather than they just happen to be.
Yeah.
Which is almost equally as, I'm not going to call it alarming, but like, you don't want to be doing that.
So this paragraph here.
Yeah.
Once again, we haven't read these books or anything like that. So before you kill us in the comment section, this isn't, just from this paragraph here. It's not saying much to me at all.
Right.
It might sound right, just like it sounds right that if two people are together, they'll be happier because no one will be left out.
Well, that's also us putting our own personal, our own insight on that, you know. Whereas, well, let's use it as it's put on paper, you know, and with our insight on there, you know.
Yeah.
It's two people will I'm not quoting anybody. I'm just saying hypothetical situation here. On paper, it says two people will be happy, or will most likely be happy if it's a monogamy type of relationship. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's
like what does that mean?
That's calling a square a rectangle, but a rectangle isn't a square. Like there's no. It's. I'm not gonna call it a factory production of this is why anger and aggression will go down and you'll be happy. It's like, what? It's a false equivalent.
Sure.
I think that's the word.
Which is why I would go back to here's your glass of smile. There you go.
Yeah. And then if they are happy from your glass of smile, it doesn't mean that they're happy because of your glass of smile.
It's an inauthentic
It just
emotion.
means you observe that.
Sure.
You need more than that. All right, let's move on here.
I think that's a big thing. I think it's overlooked, you know.
So I guess he summarizes everything. So let's summarize. All right. So let's summarize. Peterson writes, men get frustrated when they are not competitive in the sexual marketplace. Note, the fact that they do get frustrated does not mean that they should get frustrated. Pointing out the existence of something is not the same as justifying its existence.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying they do, capital D, capital O.
Does that mean he's serious?
That means that he's saying this is the case.
He's asserting, yeah, okay.
But he's also making a moral stance, saying that's not what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, frustrated men tend to become dangerous, particularly if they're young. The dangerousness of frustrated young men, even if that frustration stems from their own incompetence, has to be regulated socially. The manifold social conventions tilting most societies towards monogamy constitute such regulation.
Regulated?
He's saying that
it's like
men's.
It sounded like I'm like okay, then it's like.
And once again, he could be doing the enforced monogamy thing, to where he's mean something else, even though the words say enforced monogamy.
Sure.
So when he says has to be regulated socially, he can mean it should be, put out there more, nudged out in the public more.
Like so socially, more of a socially acceptable thing, and rather than just
should be the norm.
Yeah.
Once again, in order to accept this, we have to accept the initial premise that men are frustrated because they don't have sexual partners. That's
is that what he's saying in a way? Like that's why?
Well, he says the fact that they do get frustrated does not mean that they should get frustrated.
Okay, yeah.
And that, once again, that's square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square. Single men can be frustrated or can get frustrated, but that doesn't output or mean that the frustration is from being single. It doesn't work both ways.
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm trying to be careful. I'm not saying that he's saying this is why people are aggressive and upset. And if he's saying it's a result.
If he's saying it's possible, I'd be like, oh, all right, yeah, that sounds completely possible.
Sure.
That's some dude's like, fuck, I can't get laid, man. Whatever I do, I can't get laid. And it's like, I understand that's a possibility that he can be frustrated because of that.
But it's like
this deep frustration of going out and murdering masses of people.
Yeah, I think
that's something else.
That's some other shit that's been stewing, for a long time.
That's someone zooming into that frustration,
yeah,
without realizing that all these other things are being added into.
Yeah. I was looking into
maybe envy or envy, jealousy, shit like that.
But even
all stewing in that one pot.
Such a thing where it results in the murder of other people, it has to, from what I believe Tessarian says, it has to result from the murder of self.
Self-harm.
Yeah.
Is what I would say. You had to do something to yourself in order to get to that violent level.
Yeah.
You had to drop away your empathy and your conscience, throw them to the fucking side, which is basically you carving parts of yourself away in order to step into that scenario and be able to do that.
Exactly.
Some sort of violent action.
Yeah.
Whether it's a fucking fist fight or... Oh shit, I closed it. My bad.
No. But yeah, it involves the murder of self and self-harm, which allows, like you said, which allows people to do such things,
Now,
whether
to get more detailed with that, I wouldn't say...
Well, whether it's physical...
What are you talking about?
Or whether it's... Huh?
Well, what are you talking about there?
What was I talking about?
Are you talking about a fist fight, or do you mean a mass shooting, or?
Oh, it could be any of those things. Even with signing a paper that's going to result in the death of hundreds of thousands of people.
I wouldn't call it. Well, certain cases I would say self-murder. But other parts are just. I would say self-harm instead, because you could get into a fist fight over something and then egotistically completely justify it to yourself.
Well, I would
say he was just looking at me funny.
I would say it's both.
He was looking at me funny. I was talking to this girl. He just fucking jumped in the conversation.
Yeah, I know.
This fucking guy here.
I would say.
And then
I would say in a way, it would be both.
Yeah. All right.
The true. How do I say this? fuck. Like, I don't call it like a revelation or anything, but it's like the true idea of what someone is, and to be able to do such a thing. It's like you can't be a complete person if you do such a fucking horrible thing. You know?
Yeah, that'd be clearly evident that your faculties are missing. Now, let's say someone truly believes, like, okay, I need to push this button and bomb 100,000 people. Say, okay, maybe their conscience stayed intact, but their metaphysical logic didn't stay intact. So then that would mean part of themselves is pushed to the side or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if I don't do this, they'll kill a bunch of people.
I can't just label it ignorance. It has to be something greater.
It could just be ignorance. If they keep their if they're like,
what I meant was in general.
I truly believe these guys are,
I mean in general for
in our backyard ready to kill us. Yeah. Or
to take out these acts of, okay, I'm gonna get this gun and I'm gonna go shoot a bunch of people. Or I'm gonna grab this knife and I'm gonna go stab a bunch of people, or what have you. You know.
Yeah, that would be.
Or a drone. You know.
That would lean closer to self-destruction, because you have no right, because you have no understanding. If I can't read this person's mind and read this person's soul, I can't just say they gotta go, they gotta die, they gotta go away. Thus, you're being dishonest to some part of yourself.
Even if you could,
ends up pushing yourself down.
Even if you could, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, they gotta go. I'm like, no, they don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
They can stay right here.
So that'd be, ignorance of self or ignorance.
So I mean, I only brought that up because it stems from what I understand to be the true. You could call it fucking. How do I say this? The true brewing, point for this shit. It's like this is what happens and why this shit happens, rather than, well, the studies show that single men are more aggressive and they have to compete for sexual partners against the other groups. It's like, how about we just talk about
well, hold on. Well, the problem is that
I'm not being careful.
First, they categorize something as aggression, so they just say violence,
right?
Which is putting life in a vacuum, which you can't do. Life is life. You can't put a box on it and say, no, this is life right here, this box in here. Then, once they categorize that, then they can place it on male or female based on statistics,
right.
Saying, oh, well, there's more men in jail, or this occurs more with men. Thus, aggression is a male problem, and then it's all these things built on top of each other that may not be the most credible thing.
Sure, that's why I'm trying to be careful with these statistics and studies, and because it takes someone else to observe this, Yeah. Unless we live in a perfect world where we reach that level of, I know you're happy. That's like a whole other thing.
What if men are conditioned to express aggression this way, and women are conditioned to express aggression this way? What if women are like, oh, well, I'm in a female body, so I can't do anything tough or rugged, so I express aggression this way? Right?
I would definitely say
a look or say something snooty or whatever the fuck.
I would definitely say personally, and as well as from what I've observed, definitely, without a doubt, yes.
Yeah. So if that's the case, you're not really measuring aggression. You're just you're measuring violence.
Yeah.
And what if men are conditioned to say, well, I'm a guy, so we handle things like this.
I won't say who, but like fucking someone told me who was call him a central figurehead of authority.
Donald Trump.
No. Within school, we'll say.
MAGA.
Within school.
QAnon.
Within high school. He said, James, you just got to find the biggest guy in school and punch him.
Dude, that's jail. That's the stereotype for jail.
Yeah.
That was in Deadpool. Right, the kid. You got to find the toughest guy and
Fuck them up.
Yeah.
But this was back in like 2012 or 13.
You should heard Jody shit on that movie.
Really?
Fucking hilarious. Yeah.
Good.
Craps all over it.
It was funny. It wasn't great. Anyway.
I gotta comment.
The point, yeah, let me see.
Let me just read the last bit of this. So this is his final comments on it.
Okay.
He says, "That's all. No recommendation of police state. No recommendation of police state assigning of women to man, or for that matter, man to woman. No arbitrary dealing out of damsels to incels." I really don't like that word for some reason.
Incels?
Involuntarily celibate.
Involuntary celibate.
Yeah, involuntarily. I don't choose to not have sex. I'm not desirable enough to have sex.
Well, that only works within the sandbox.
I don't know. I just don't like the word.
It could be one of those backwards words like
I have the same problem with calling someone fat. I just have that problem for some reason. SJW, you fucking snowflake.
SJW.
Like, they come here and call me a fucking snowflake. Because I'm a man.
Someone called me that.
I have aggression.
Someone called me a snowflake. I'm like, what does that mean? Do you know where that comes from? What do you mean by that? And man, it went south from there.
Yeah, let me finish it. He says, nothing scandalous, all innuendo and suggestive editing to the contrary. Just a plain bare common sense facts. Socially enforced monogamous conventions decrease male violence.
Facts.
In addition, and not trivially, they also help provide mothers with comparative, reliable male partners and increase their probability that stable, father-intact homes will exist for children. That sounds like the moral. This is right because this moral reason.
See, I want to say. If you just read this first.
Yeah.
You're measuring the degree to which that gender is socially constructed.
But there's a difference between gender in terms of aggression at a biological level.
What do you think of that?
Measuring the degree to which the gender is socially constructed. I wouldn't say the terms for like what a gender means. That's socially constructed. That's obvious.
Sure, like the words I give out, the sounds I'm fucking making out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I'm just using that so everyone can. I'm using like these specific words like boy or girl or whatever the fuck, or man or woman, so everyone has a certain understanding of what I'm saying.
Yeah, those
gender.
Those are conditioned terms to say that.
Sure.
What we really should be saying is like that's Bob or that's Susie instead of.
It doesn't matter.
But I understand going there. Okay, but there are differences between gender in terms of aggression at a biological level. That I disagree with. It's not biologically based. Your brain is not your center of output. Well, it's your relay of output. It's not exactly your things go on in here and then you output them.
Right.
It's things go on all over here and then your brain relays it and sends it out.
It's like, Susie's acting up again. It must be the double oblongata.
That's just my feeling on it, but yeah.
Oh. There is scientific data.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Because he didn't finish the other one. This is Dispose. It's a cool name. I'm not being sarcastic. It's a cool name.
I like it.
I dispose people. Right. It is very small, but over a large sample, say a nation, there shows a huge bias towards aggressive males. Once again, that's outside observing something that's an internal expression. All right? Everyone in the world can say, I'm in love. But you can't actually measure that to say that's the case.
Oh, again, that's like
You're
really
just taking stats from outside observations.
That goes directly into
for something that's internally
constructed, possibly.
Okay.
Like the other thing, it's like measuring happiness. Good luck.
Yeah.
good luck
you
with
can't
that.
say, oh, these people are happy. You can't really...
It's like the man who has everything, right? Everything. I have a car. I have a beautiful small woman. I have 3 children. I have a dog, and I'm rich as fuck. I'm deeply depressed. I have no internal investigating going on whatsoever. I am deeply lacking. Call it selfhood.
The examined life.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson argues it very well. It does not threaten your views for sure. Look into it, and it offers a great angle.
Wait, hold on.
Great angle at the
Before
argument.
that, it says there is scientific data supporting that.
Supporting this part.
All right.
Well, threatens our views.
Wait, what do you think? Well, I'd have to know what they mean. Threatens my views.
No, what he's listing here.
Mm-hmm.
That
or this user.
There's a
username or whatever.
Yeah. That Dispose is putting out here is that there's measurable biological factors that account for why men are aggressive over females. I believe that's based off of, that's what Peterson would say, I think.
Again, wouldn't that just go into what you said?
Yeah, it's...
I have a tough time putting it into words, but you seem to got better than I do.
It's... whatever study it is, this is going to sound asshole-ish, but I don't need to see the study to understand, because I can't study happiness and put it into a measurement. Just like I can't put aggression into a measurement and study it and say these are aggressive people and these are not aggressive people.
Again, you said yes, but it's a very small difference.
But over large numbers, say the population of America, that small difference accounts for a large male population in jail, for example.
Well, I mean, I guess I would say
I see what you're saying.
I would say I understand, but at the same time, if you go into the whole idea of measuring aggression, because if you're gonna measure aggression, like whether it's anger, or whether you're gonna measure a happiness or what have you, that's like measuring, something that can't be measured. And
that's our beef with this, is that you have to box off and call this aggression in order to fix the rest, in order to express the rest of your hypothesis, right? I have to define aggression first before I say these are aggressive people and these are less aggressive people.
Yeah.
And then we're saying you can't even measure to observe people's aggression. You can maybe measure your own aggression.
But even that, it's like I can't tell you, I can't tell you how, I can't show you. You won't know.
So like we said before, all right, if I can't tell you, you can't just put me in a lab and take a poll or whatever and say, I can't just tell you that I'm aggressive or something. Then you have to go off observation. And then we brought up the point of, well, what if women express aggression and sneering or that shit?
No, it's
he's practiced that.
No, it's my sister's fault.
Or whatever it is. Or whatever weird quirk someone has. Then the whole experiment explodes right there. It's like,
oh, hold on.
Okay. The most aggressive people, this is coming from Dispose again, the most aggressive people, those in jail and have acted out, are thus mostly male. Okay, and then I guess this is a response.
Within the box, I would say. No.
Okay, this is a response. Well, our measurement of aggression is very binary right now. Those with criminal convictions and those that are not. Okay. As long as that's said, that we don't actually have a stranglehold on what aggression is. So we have to measure things like this guy's done something violent and he's in jail. And we have these statistics of prisoners for violent crimes or whatever. Or you might even be meaning non-violent too, because they might be searching for status.
Sure. I just want to be careful that we don't go into that thing where like we say it is and it's a fact based off of a measurement that we created and constructed, and we're using.
I think that's more of what Peterson's saying.
Okay, that's why I don't want to go towards.
I don't know if he's saying it's a fact of life or if it's a fact.
All I'm saying is
it's a fact within this study.
It's these words that we use
within our definition of aggression.
Yeah,
this is a fact.
It's these words that we use that get loosely
boxed in.
Yeah, whether it's truth, fact.
Yeah.
And then when people use the probability is this, so it's a fact. It's like, wait, what? And a fact means what?
I believe I've heard the same guy say.
I'm just trying to be careful with this.
I believe I've heard the same guy say, "This is scientific fact," while at the same time saying, "Science doesn't prove anything. Wherever we go with our scientific adventure." Someone else takes over for us after, let's say, we die or something. Someone else takes over the study, and they try to add on.
Dude, I love.
And you're on this asymptote of towards the truth, but never actually reaching it. I think.
Well, no, I completely agree. It's basically like it's like running the mile, running up the mountain, except you take a certain like a path where it says you'll never be on the mountaintop, but you'll circle around it a lot.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, Peterson offers great arguments on that and cites the data. Well, I'm just saying.
Once again, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Just you can't really make a 100% solid. This is what it is type.
Yeah,
thing.
You can't call it the truth based off of like statistics and data and.
What Peterson could do is study his own aggression, his own whatever metaphysical idea we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because yes, you can measure violence. Yeah, you can measure violence by sort of boxing it in. No, you can't even do that, can you?
It seems as if
in order to finger violence.
Again, you have to define violence.
Are you
in order to do such a thing? You have to have the word. We're gonna do a study on this, and based off of that word, such as violence, I have to. Well, I mean this. I mean from violence, I mean this. That can mean a bunch of different things. Now I'm boxing that off. I'm putting that into a little box.
Yeah.
And I put this into a little box, and my studies within this little circle, where it's somewhat easy. I'm not gonna say it's easy to cherry pick, but it's tough not to.
Yeah.
I like studies. I like what they do. I like what they offer. But at the same time, it's very. I think it's not good when people like to put. It's a fact. It's the truth. It's like you said. The scientists that say like it isn't the truth. Like these are just like statistics and probabilities.
Yeah.
A theory.
Yeah.
But again, haha. I wish I could voice. Chat, this show is interesting. Yes, it is interesting. Yes.
In the future.
Anyway,
in the future,
I'll stop hijacking and just enjoy. No,
we're like ending soon, dude. So we can.
He can't. No one can hijack when just one person. Like, stay with us, please.
The chat is yours. It's your chat room.
Our #1 fan, and you can just see it now. We have 3 viewers, including ourselves.
I'm it's for our other viewer, Mrs.
Who lives at
it's our editing tool. We're probably gonna move on to something else.
Yeah.
Either that fucking church leader guy.
Yeah. Well.
Or maybe what the fuck's his name? Jock Fresco.
Yeah.
Talking about free will and shit like that. But I don't know. You got anything else to say?
Oh, in regards to the other video, because I would hope that all the people that fucking saw the last video, which was like 300.
That's good for us.
Yes.
And a lot of comments too.
And we got a lot of dislikes too.
Very long-winded comments.
So to be fair, I'll leave it. For now, I'll leave it to you to comment because I'm in the learning phase.
But
hold on. I'd hope this would be a good chance for the rebuttal for that,
Yeah. And
as well as I'm not disregarding Peterson or anything, but it's tough because even though let's say or if it did not, someone misrepresented someone's ideas or views, whatever, in an article. It's still tough when you say, like, when something's written on paper.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, for what we try to do, I think we just try to argue the idea, period, whether it's taken out of context or whatever.
Mm.
But we probably overreached with that one.
A little bit, yeah. I would say so. Yeah.
All because of that term, enforcement. When I hear that, in my mind, that means
I said
you
something.
have to be
I said something like Sparta, but I'm pretty sure we clarified within the video. I could be wrong. It's just something like tells me like I might have, or we might have, that we said even if he does mean this, or like what it says from this article. I think we even said like even though like monogamy, it's just it's like a measurable thing that people can go off of a seemingly healthy society.
Yeah.
Where it's okay, yeah. I mean, well, what is it really? You know, like, this is what doesn't. This is what never. I feel like hardly ever gets touched upon as far as what I hear. You know, and it's tough for like a study. You know, like Tessarian is someone I have been listening to very much, and little bits and pieces of Carl Jung, whatever. Brain fart.
I believe he influences a lot of Peterson's work.
Yeah.
Carl Jung.
So, fucking, I can't believe I said that. Anyway, they say specific things regarding the self or society or what have you that don't need data or studies. You know. Well, and they could argue that they know it and it's the truth without statistics or studies to back them up.
Well, if they're making an analysis of society itself, they better drop a "I don't know" in there with certain things.
Well, that's where you have to start.
Well, that would be a truth. To say "I don't know" would be a truth.
Yeah, it is.
If you don't know, obviously.
It's basically stemming from themselves and then putting yourself in there, which they are.
Yeah.
In this society, you know.
These are axioms, truths about humanity. Interesting.
He didn't leave, or they didn't leave. I'm happy.
Stop hogging the chat room, Discord.
It's like, oh, you're back in the lunch line again? Come on, man. I'm just kidding.
Well,
we're desperate.
I would say understanding truths about humanity. Well, I'm human. Thus, if I understand myself, I can understand some truths about humanity. That doesn't mean I know the entire thing of Joe.
Refuted.
These things can't be refuted or argued.
They don't need data.
Depends on how you define good there.
I was gonna go a whole video.
I think I get what you mean there. And I would ask, well, why is it a truth? Because there's such thing as...
And why these are commonly mentioned in religious texts, etc. Before we had a scientific data to back it.
Because, I would say because of what... Granted, I don't like a lot of his work. So I'll use his words, though. Something Sam Harris would say, which is objective morality.
There's that word again, objective.
Yes, it is objective morality. It is a real thing.
Yeah.
I would call that good or goodness, but those words can be misconstrued a shitload of ways. But
Scrambled
I mean the imperial moral good. That's what objective morality is.
Mm.
And yes, that is a real thing. How to prove it? Once again, it would take self-analysis. As in, let's say, a little kid with no language or anything else around them. There's no people around them.
It's just him.
Somehow they grow up to 12 years old or something.
Yeah.
and they somehow create a fire, and they stick their hand in it, and they're like, ah, that hurt. Now all of a sudden, they somehow get discovered by society, and they bring him into society.
Yeah.
He's already has built-in, at the very least, understanding of empathy, as in, ow, that hurt.
Yeah.
So if I did that to another, it would hurt them and not feel good, which is a, kindergarten level story about morality, but
it's
how it's objective, as in, even if, let's say he stuck his hand in the fire, he felt the burning sensation, but he was like, I like this pain, and then he went out into society, he still has an objective morality to look at others and say, just based on knowing the truth, which is I can't read their minds, I can't feel their senses for them, say someone else might not like this.
Yeah.
I like this, but someone else might not. That's built-in objective morality.
That's how I used that before. Like the boy or being that was placed in like in a box and he was cared for unknowingly, just happened to have food, just happened to be like filled up, with like nutrients, etc., whatever. Everything was provided, and then he was placed into society. It's like, will he know the difference between good and evil?
Yes. Just innately based on.
I think morality and the spectrum we've developed to measure it. I can't read.
I think morality and the spectrum we've developed to measure it is an axiomatic truth, and so lying also. Why is there a wire here? Also considering morality.
Like I said, I wish they could see what we have. And like what we got the setup right now. Pathetic. It's pathetic. Our setup is pathetic. We got a mic on top of a fucking.
Yeah, well, alright. This is why I like to not use the word morality, because I sort of look at it the way the Joker does in The Dark Knight, to where you can say morality is weak. It's because it's a hierarchical. Yeah. Hierarchical.
Hierarchy?
That's not the word. I can't say it, but it's an.
Try.
It's a hierarchy.
Esque?
No, it is.
Okay.
It is a hierarchy morality. Thus, one thing
one would try and fall. Like
one level is relative to the other.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Stomping on an ant is bad, but saving a kitten from a tree is good. But saving a kitten and looking out for them and making sure they succeed through life is even better than understanding all of how ecology works and saying, oh well, a cat is more suited for here than my living room.
Right.
And then that's even more, so it ends up becoming a relativity game.
Yeah. Well done. It's a hard one.
You've developed to measure it. It's an axiomatic truth, and so I never use the word axiomatic, so I'm gonna look that shit up. I think I got what he meant by that, but
I would say so.
Why not be
careful? I mean, you're pronouncing. Oh, yeah. You got it. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say, but I can't say like Hillary Clinton. I can't say that right.
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton. Yeah.
Now say evil.
Evil. Oh, fuck you.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Actually, Max, self-evident. Gotcha. Or undisputable.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
Lying is a truth? Yes. But only one would understand it. On an individual level. I will understand if I'm lying to you. Because there's intent behind it.
What's your favorite color, man?
Blue. Am I lying? Am I being honest? Being honest is different than telling the truth.
Well, then there's...
Can I possibly tell you the truth? Because we're playing with words here, and words are just symbols.
Yeah, you could be.
And on and on and on and on.
You could be, but I would never know.
Alright,
There's evidence to support that your favorite color is blue. For some weird, sick reason, you may, like, for 50 years, you may, like, trying to, like, I'm going to convince you my favorite color is blue. Then it's, I'm just fucking with you, my favorite color is red, man. It's like, fuck.
Alright, we're going to end this because maybe other people might actually watch this.
Yeah.
Dispose, thanks for the fucking chats. Whatever it is. Chat room thingy. You win, my friend. You win. Yeah.
Yes, and no racial bad things. If you are not truthful to yourself or those, like the wires in my way, close to you, you create a massive mess over time. That is not
in line with reality. That ripples throughout society. Yeah, I like that. I call it the TikTok theory. That's from some movie, Inc. I think it's called. Either way, alright, peace out, and hit the subscribe button.